I wanted to talk about, I put, should the Baton girl be charged? That was the track runner out of Virginia. She was charged for battery for hitting a girl who was also running in the head with a baton. And then I also put Slim Thug because he was on Willie D podcast, and a conversation of reparations came up. And Slim Thug was saying, well, we don't need it, and stop begging, and just go out there and get it. You don't have to beg no one for nothing, yada, yada, yada. And someone needs to just put a muzzle on Slim Thug because I disagree with everything he said. And that beard is just such a turn off. So, yeah, so those are the two topics tonight. Hi, Robbie.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I know this has been a hot, one of the hottest topics this past few days and stuff. But well, first, thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate that, and I like your spaces. Your spaces are always very well done. So I appreciate that as well, giving people a chance to come up and share their thoughts. And so my thoughts really on the young ladies that ran track and had that incident. To a certain degree, I would be, slightly lenient on the young lady. I mean, she is young. I know kids sometimes get caught up in the heat of the battle, and they do things that may not be, right in the moment. I do believe she did it intentionally, just based on my looking at the video from the different angles. I didn't really see any like jarring, for position because of the nature of the style of run. I believe like more like cross country or long distance running, which I've ran before. You do have that initial, jockeying for position where you kind of nudging and something like, you can get tripped or whatnot. But in this case, it looks like, she got kind of heated, that she got passed up by the young lady, and then, bam, and so I don't think she should be, maybe charged with maybe battery, but I do think she needs to learn, some kind of accountability needs to happen on her part. The lion, though, is not giving her any, help. You know what I mean? She's just come out and say, hey, I was in the heat of it. I got angry, and I think people will be more understanding than that than trying to, get out of it, because she is hurting her chances for any future scholarships, because scouts probably were at that meet, and we're looking at it at this situation. So for her to save face and to make sure that she got a future, I think, the sooner she come out and, well, I know we still got to see the truth come out. So allegedly, right? I'm gonna wait for the details to come out. But just on me looking and my observation as a father, I would be angry too if I saw another, athlete do that to my child, and rightfully so, right? So I can't fault her parents for wanting to take it to that level. But hopefully, the lady can learn a lesson on this and move forward. But I don't want to see a young lady's career get tanked just by this one incident.
So let me ask you, if if that was your child, your daughter or son, would you have pressed charges? Would you want charges to be pressed against the girl?
That's a great question. Judging my style of things and how I operate, I would give the young lady at least a chance to, really come forward with like the truth, give her a chance to tell the truth. But if she's trying to not hold no kind of accountability for her actions then I think that's what would make my, move me to make a decision on whether or not I'm gonna press charges, because I want to know the truth ultimately. And so if we have to take it to court to get the truth, and you're not gonna, state it yourself, then that would be my only option I see at that point. And also for the honor of my child too. I wouldn't want my child to think that I, as their parent, do not regard this as being a serious incident when they view it as serious. You see what I'm saying? So I would have to back my child up on that.
I'm reading a story right now from ABC out of Philly, and it says that the other runner who attends Norcom High School has not been named. Kaylin's parents, Kaylin Tucker is the girl that was hit. Parents say Norcom's athletic director and the girl's father apologized in a phone call. Quote, I definitely want the coaches and a personal apology from the actual athlete as well, because it's only, it's only right, said Keith Tucker, Kaylin's dad. And it says that the high school is also reviewing it as well. and could potentially have disciplinary charges levied as well in regards to, in addition to what the police have done.
So she may get on top of the charges. That's too much. And honestly, when she said it was not intentional. So yeah. Hi, lovely.
Hi, boo.
How are you?
I love your little quick spaces. They be right straight to
Yeah.
the point. Straight to the point. I just want to say I ran track, right? She did that shit on purpose, bro.
What?
She did. Because it's like you're literally trained in track when even if you don't have the baton, they train you to run with your hands by your side, right? Because you're trained to think that anything is gonna slow you down. So the minute she took that baton and it did what it did and it went outside of her, like, I guess I don't know what you call it, but like it's like a personal running space. You could tell it was intentional. There's literally no reason for your arms. You're not trained to run like that. You're trained for your arms to be at your side.
Yeah, I agree with Lovely Dana in so far as like that. It reminds me of people who say, "Well, listen, I don't know what happened. The gun just went off." The gun doesn't just the gun doesn't just go off. You pull the trigger and the hammer collapses and fires the bullet. Like, right? So I agree with
Like
Lovely.
you're literally like when you're in track, your arms are like at your body. Like
Yeah.
so that's
Okay.
what I'm saying. Like so when she extended her arm out like that.
So what's this? Okay. So being that you ran track, lovely, you ever watch the Olympics and they have the long distance runners? Because I don't know if this particular meet they were running was long distance, but long distance they have their own lane, but then they end up squeezing closer to the in lane, being bunched up together, and then sometimes you get bumped. And and I said it earlier, this past Olympics, the American, I think she got like 3 gold medals. She's from New Jersey, and I keep forgetting her name. It starts with an A, but she didn't. She was clipped. Somebody clipped her, and she fell. And this was during qualifications, and she was out. So things happen. Was the person that
But
clipped it?
she fell because of her feet.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't even see it, but because I ran track, that makes sense. Like you could trip over your own feet. Like so when you're
But
running,
she
when you
tripped
when you
over.
coming in them turns, when you come at them turn, it's a skill, but it's like we get it. You might go into the other lane, but you still have to go back into your lane. But your feet and your arms are they're doing two very different things.
Right,
So
but
you could trip over your own feet, you could trip over somebody else's, but the baton, hell no.
okay, so look, let's just say it was intentional. I'm just saying she shouldn't be charged either way. So
And
How old is she?
she was what, 17, 16, 17?
What they charging her with?
battery.
Battery, yeah, basic,
Yeah, that's what
simple
it would
assault
be because
battery.
it hit. Yep.
I mean, she hit her hard too.
The thing
But
is,
I
like,
used to run track too. I didn't see it. I used to run track, and I was gonna ask. I mean, sometimes people try stuff because, they want to see if they can get away with it. But there used to be solid rules where if you did stuff like that, you would be disqualified. I mean, there's not anything like that anymore. There's so,
well,
I don't.
Deborah, to Lovely's point, right? It defies logic.
Yeah, it
I
does.
hear what she's saying, right? When you're
Yep.
running, like even when I'm running on the street, what I do is you want to keep your hands and brush like the sides of like by your waist and keep them low. You're not
Right.
going to raise your hand, catch wind resistance, and then crack it. Like it
Right.
doesn't make any
Thank
Yeah.
sense.
you very much.
Yep. Yeah.
You gotta have your hair assert like that's why what
Yeah. You
Shakari
pull it
does.
back.
What
Yeah.
Shakari does is so fucking fantastic, and I don't think people who really, if you run track, you understand that her nails and her hair, all of those things, it adds what he said, wind resistance, and it adds weight, and it can slow you down, and she still wins.
Yep, because
Well,
you want
you
to
know
be
what?
more
But
aerodynamic. Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
she's like Beyonce to me because it's hard to dance and sing, And Beyonce's always been a master at that. You know, the only one I've ever seen anybody do it as well, Prince and Michael
I was
Jackson.
gonna say
But
Michael.
if this,
And
yeah,
Chris Brown, Chris Brown.
this young lady probably practices like that, and she knows the physics of her body, like Simone Biles. You know, because
Mm-hmm.
once you understand the physics of your body, you can do stuff like that and really be a master. So somebody hated her. That
But
there's no way.
Shakari, she took that wig off, and then she has like the braids.
So you got even that, like when I was training, we weren't allowed
We
to
didn't
have stuff
have
like
that.
that.
Yeah, we didn't have
You
that
Um,
had to
either.
have like a simple ponytail, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need a ponytail. So when it helps you when you have your hair pulled back, it helps your speed.
When you
If
could
it,
have
yeah,
long braids and shit like that, you nice. Like you super nice. Can't nobody
yeah.
touch
oh,
you.
okay. See, honey, I wasn't doing
Mhm.
all. Even though y'all track runners have the body is banging, but honey, I wasn't doing none of that. I was lazy, but I should have did something because the track runner body is banging. So, all right. So the second topic, yeah, I could jump in on it as well. I don't know if y'all saw the clip, Slim Thug on Willie D's podcast, and then it was a segment. I put it in the comment section. It was a 4-minute clip, and they was talking about reparations, and Slim Dog was like, "Stop begging. You don't need nobody to give you nothing. Just go out there and basically get it."
Hmm.
So I wanted to.
But the whole thing about reparations now that it's happening, because I've been studying this stuff, and I know that there's people. I've been studying it just because I'm like, damn, I know we were old, and my grandfather gave me a elephant teddy bear when I was younger, and then my great grandfather, his last breath, he destroyed it. But I'm like, I started just digging into stuff, and then when you look back, in like I say, the 1800s, like during reparations, there were black wealthy towns everywhere, and they were destroyed, after the KKK started and everything. But I heard something today, and I guess they're talking Native American over black, but I really don't know that in some of these states like Mississippi or something, there's an area where if you're a descendant of a slave and you do the paperwork or whatever, you can get land. And also in Louisiana. So I mean, this is possible, but there has to be a lot of research. And I've been doing research from the top down level. I want to know who built the damn ships, because there's a book, the transatlantic slave maps. And so people say they can't read maps, but every family in the United States needs to get this damn book. Actually, it needs to become the top book to educate people so we can really understand what's going on. But they had all of these ports, and from what I gather, Portugal was first, but we were on the last leg of it. So that we were the best of the best of the brightest of the best that they pulled from Africa. So and then how the hell we got pulled out was like, local Africans were kidnapping us. There's a book called Barracoon, by Zora Neale Hurston. That's another one that everybody should read. It's the last living slave. Her notes were found. A white man published them. And then like I've seen other books just like take off from those little, I think it's like less than 150 pages. And he talks about how he was kidnapped. He was looking for his girlfriend because he had been through training to become a man. He was looking for his girlfriend, and he had heard about the kidnappings or whatever, and he was hiding under a table, and they got him, and how they locked him down in the cages, and then eventually put him on the ship. He came to America, he married, he had sons, and everybody died but him at the end. And he was telling Zora Neale Hurston the story. So we have to dig into it, and maybe a lot of people are digging into it, but you need a plan. And the Frederick Douglass, look at his canon, because he has a plan. In one of his major books, he laid out a plan for reparations. The Freedmen Bank exists, but it shouldn't be touched until they figure out what the fuck is going to go on. And then, like, there's a few ways to do it. You got to do a lawsuit, or like some of these some intelligent black women are online talking about this stuff, like even though you might want to disrespect in Cobra and some of these other people, they have been doing research, so everybody needs to get together in some kind of situation and talk. And then everybody needs to look at the Freedmen Bank, because they actually have shit roped out. We should have been getting our 40 acres and a mule. So if we just do our homework, I think we're going to be all right. But we got to do the homework and stop fighting each other. And then the ignorant people need to step aside.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Um,
So
I'm gonna get to the Negro. Hi. And
Hi there, Miss
everybody's
Dana.
saying that she should be charged. Like everybody, because I saw your comment, the Negro. You was like, yeah, she should be charged. How you doing?
I
Oh
think
yeah,
she should be.
yeah. I finished up my school. I got my master's now. We in investigation.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. I just wanted to.
Oh, you just at
Yeah,
work?
yeah. I'll be walking the stage in May 16th at University of New Haven. Shout out to them.
Okay.
Congrats,
So
congrats.
yeah,
Yeah.
masters in that. So we're gonna follow up for that historian degree as well as that doctor, and we're gonna get to that law degree. But that's a story for another day. I want to get to that baton situation. My God. Okay. Salute to Dana. What up, co-host? Should Baton Girl be charged? Slim Thug hashtag reparations 45-minute debate. Yeah, I think that she should get charged. I think that she should be removed at least for suspended for at least a year from the track. Any forms of organized sports. I think that that's a fair thing. And it gives her time to think about the actions and how she behaved. This was at a state event where she was competing against other teams in the state, and she committed this. So she did not just embarrass herself; she embarrassed the school, and she embarrassed anybody that was connected to that team. And to downplay what, and the reason why I'm doubling down that she should get punished is because she assaulted that young girl and didn't
Mm-hmm.
see it didn't
Yep.
see her actions was she didn't see that her actions were not
Wrong.
appropriate or
Yep.
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of my issue with this with the baton situation.
Mm-hmm.
Slim Thug, which Slim Thug has been saying a lot, Miss Dana. So where haven't Slim Thug hasn't said that was controversial? And which one are you referring to? So I can address
I
that real
put the
quick,
I put the
briefly.
clip under in the comment section under the space. So he was talking to Willie D about reparations, and I guess Willie D asked him, "What does he think about it?" He was like, "Well, we shouldn't be begging no one to give us anything. We should be getting it
He's
ourselves.
ignorant.
Yeah, we don't need a handout." Basically, towards the end of that conversation, when Willie D was talking to him, he was like, he kind of could understand where Willie D was coming from, saying something that is old, but he was basically saying we shouldn't be waiting around for something for someone to give us stuff.
So I'll push back on him on that. So he's a street guy. So I think he might have sold drugs like most of these other rappers and whatnot. Let somebody short him on a drug transaction. He'll be quick to blow the top off of a black person and murder him and kill him. But when it comes to reparations, oh, I'm just gonna let the white man slide in his Gucci slides and think everything's honky dory. So that will be my retort to the man who's speaking against the genocide of our people and our repair. These individuals do need to be silenced if you really want to know my opinion, legally or whatever means, because they're obstructing our justice claim. And it's hard for us to get credibility when you have people that look like us or maybe us or whatever that is speaking down on the humanity of our people. That's no different from blackface. That's the category that I'm
That's
putting
the
Slim
point.
Thug in.
That's the whole thing with the rappers, because when I was in Harlem and there were intelligent rappers, because there was a time when they were speaking, some of these rappers, because I never really followed it, but some of them had some pretty good lyrics. But I remember a young man getting signed in East Harlem, where it's predominantly black. They had like music schools, where the Latin jazz and the black kids are going to school learning all of these instruments. And this kid got signed doing intelligent rap and got killed like the next day. So the record companies, they want the ignoramuses, because these dudes are, to me, they're basically enslaved, right? They don't have any, they're allowed to go and spit ignorance, on the people, and disrespect people. And I was like, you're not gonna call me a bitch or a hoe. And people were like, but I ain't talking about you. But I'm like, you talking about your mama, your aunt, your sister, your baby that's not here, and everything else, when you're calling these little girls bitches and hoes. And then like that, I got turned off by Michael Eric Dyson when he was gonna, I think it was him, talking about, oh yeah, you grew up calling my daughter a bitch and a hoe, and now you have one or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you allowed him to do it. So, you partied with him while he was doing it. So how the hell are you gonna sit up and say anything? But yeah, the whole rap industry was to make sure our kids didn't learn musical instruments, which also makes them wizards in math, and just make sure our black boys didn't know that they were the damn creators of every engineering discipline that we know, because that's what this stuff is all about. So DMX was pretty interesting. He was really intelligent too. But some of them, I can't even listen to them. They're so bad.
Or
Yeah.
KRS-One too. I remember KRS-One and Nas when he first came out. I mean, he was
Right?
socially
Yeah.
conscious.
Yep.
Yep, and he was spitting a lot of jewels about where politically where we are and what's going on with the
Hmm.
government, which I liked.
And NWA, I think a lot of people like them because I ran into the DMX funeral by mistake. Happened to be on the train, downtown Brooklyn, and then you had to basically go from the Brooklyn Bridge into Atlantic because of DMX's funeral, and they were like parading his red casket through the streets. But I must have saw, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 damn motorcycles or three-wheel trikes and all of these bikes. And I'm like, damn, he had that kind of impact on these kids from all over the world. I've never seen anything like that. Like every category, every continent, Asians, Spanish, black, everybody was riding these souped up bikes, man, for his funeral. And they could do wheelies. And then I lost my phone with my photos and my video and everything, but maybe I was supposed to. But it was crazy. And then they had the funeral in the Barclays, and everybody was saying, I think Kanye West in his crowd or something, and his choir was there, and people were saying because it was in red, it was this and that. And me and my friends were like, you can't really say that because it was in red it was demonic or anything, because that boy went to heaven. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, me
I
didn't. I
don't
thought
like
it
when
was just
people try to
creative.
take something and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's symbolic. That's what it
No,
means," and
it
it's
was
something
creative.
negative. No, because
Because red means love and passion.
Just tell them that all dogs go to heaven. That's
Yep.
where DMX
Well,
is.
and Deborah, he had all those people come out because he was connected with the Rough Riders, right, and the Dean
Yeah, they're
family.
motorcycle
Yep,
Yeah.
club.
I mean,
yep.
I never saw anything like that before. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And to me, the red meant love and passion. And that's what my friend said too. We were saying, it's like, yeah, when people say that,
yeah.
that's not right, because a
Well,
lot of people loved him.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that celebrities, rappers, singers, actors, actresses, or even athletes should be talking about whether it's politics, reparations. I think they need to just focus on their craft. For some reason, they don't. I don't want them to comment on it at all.
Hmm.
We regular people, us, we the ones, and the people that are out there actually doing the work need
The
to. Yeah, the
taxpayers.
taxpayers and the
Yep.
people who are actually heading up these organizations to fight for justice.
Hmm.
We should be the ones speaking, not no damn celebrity, because they're in la la land anyway. But anyway, swing it back.
But the media, people have to. I stopped watching. Stop pay because I wanted to watch all the black stations, right? And I would have to pay $250 a month. So I had to have all the stations in order to watch the black movies, and I was like, "There's something wrong with this picture," So I think the media is the one, to me, that's destroying us, because my friends are
Definitely.
telling me too. Kids in middle school, like, they all want to dress like like Kim Kardashian, and like the Kardashians have a major impact. And when you drive around Brooklyn, for weddings on Saturday and stuff, you see all of these people kind of looking like
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian and stuff. And it's like the media has too much
The media
of an
has too much
impact on
of
people's
an
minds.
influence. One second, let me
Yeah,
go to the Negro, and anybody else want to request to come up, please do so, because they got like 10 more
we'll talk
minutes.
on. Oh, okay.
10 more minutes. Go ahead, the Negro.
Yeah. So the Slim Thug thing, I really don't like him speaking against or. Okay, my thing is this. When I look at other entertainers, like I'll use the Jewish ones for example, the small hat community. You do not rarely see their celebrities speak out against the whole entire community or their
They're
or the
right.
collective like objective per se. But when it comes to our community, there are a lot of people that are outspoken about what black people should or should not deserve to get. And I feel like that's a little problematic in the guise of that they are not one, they might not be qualified to speak on those things. Two, it's like you have the money. You can, if you don't want to per se support reparations, what are you doing to support and uplift our community? And I know that
That's the
Slim
point.
Thug is doing like projects and stuff like that. If you don't want to per se talk about that per se, then talk about the projects that you're doing that are positive, that's uplifting our community. Um, and just keep that to keep the reparations perspective to themselves. Because I rarely see celebrities who like show me the woman celebrity that's like downplaying um women's rights and stuff like that. You're not going to see that like that. In the way that this guy's downplaying the repair of our people.
Right.
So that was where I have an issue with just the
Yeah.
celebrities and how they're using their platform.
Yeah, I think the most vocal you
Okay.
would see as far as a woman would be Candace Owens, right? I mean, she's the exception, I think, to the rule
For what?
for talking down to the community.
Oh,
And
black community.
correct.
But Candace is a tether. She's not American. I mean, her she's a tether. So like you gotta.
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
people don't, yeah, you know what, and because she will talk, and when she was talking down about the black community, and I'm gonna come to you, Robbie, when she was talking down about the black community, she was linked up with Shapiro and all those guys,
mhm.
and then it came out when she left, she came out and said, oh, it was encouraged for her to talk down about the black community. and
She had
and
a
some
bias. That's what she said. She has a bias when she was giving Caribbean stories like Rihanna and what's that other young lady, Nicki Minaj. She said that she did not want to report on them due to the fact that they were Caribbean.
right. Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm look personally. I'm down for the reparations. I mean, that's all fine. Just a couple questions is like, who's going to pay for it, right? How's it going to be funded? In what manner, are we going to do this? And two, I think we lost our biggest, I guess, we lost some teeth in our argument because we allow all these other groups to be lumped in under the 14th Amendment. So how are we going to separate these different groups out of that in order to say, okay, who's going to get it? Because
Okay.
once you
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that one because okay, Trump made that statement right before he started the executive orders, and nobody picked up that he did it on Martin Luther King's birthday. But he did it when he said it belonged, to the slaves, right? So since then, to me, what's happening is you got all of this white noise. It's all coming out, but only some court cases really gonna push it. And as a tech, your algorithm, I've been on Google a long damn time. I was a beta tester. So I went during the COVID, I was really digging into reparations and slavery, and I've got Google Earth and stuff, and I travel all over the world, whatever. So I kept coming to the same damn conclusion. It would give me this video every time at the end, before I turn my machine off or shut it down, and it will always be there was an interview with Clarence Thomas, and damn, what's that? He was a major journalist, light skinned dude. I think he was from Georgia too. So it's gonna
Brian
have to get
Gumble.
to no, he's older. He's an older man from Atlanta, curly hair,
Oh,
really light
yes,
skin.
he did the interview with OJ Simpsons after he was
Yes,
acquitted. Yes, I can't. And
yes.
Horton.
Yes. Okay. It always. I think it would in there every night, like for about 2 or 3 months. So it's gonna have to go to the Supreme Court, and Trump knows this
What's gonna have
because
to go to
that's he made
Supreme Court?
where like somebody's gonna have to. I mean, because I could actually
You
do a
mean
case myself.
reparation? The
Yes,
No, she's talking about the 14th Amendment,
the
and I
14th
agree.
Amendment.
okay.
Somebody's
And I
gonna have
agree
to
with her on
challenge.
that.
Yeah.
Underneath that conservative courts that they have,
Yes.
I think it's
Yes.
going to go back and repeal to the original state in which it was created in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh,
I
And
didn't
so
mean to
then the
cut you
other
off.
thing, but the other thing is, and this is the scary part, and I hope they don't, because I think they're going to try to start a civil war. I pray not, but like, uh, hopefully the judges that have advocated for the illegal immigration and everything they've given them, houses, loans, whatever, whatever. To me, they're all exposing themselves right now. And that's what it's like. Oh, okay, and then you're finding out who appointed them, and then when you look to see who appointed them, you're like, okay, they benefited from illegal immigration, because a lot of stuff seemed to have happened between I think the judge said from the time that Biden signed that first leg of the crime bill, and then the second leg kind of solidified it to shut us out of the labor market and everything, and we didn't see it, and because it's so sneakily done. And then I've been passed over 2 or 3 times for H-1Bs, and I actually had a white couple tell me that I could sue, but I'm in New York, and here they want $10,000 or $20,000. They're charging $500 an hour. They're gonna run your money out, and you're gonna lose it. So it's like it's so. I just think that with the youth, and I don't know. I think we're gonna have to get some youth that are hungry in law school, and create some courses, and like create some. There's gonna have to be some cases that are gonna spit and it's gonna end up in the Supreme
Right.
Court, and Clarence Thomas, if his ass is still there, he's gonna have to agree to it, because he was given everything. He had his uncles. I mean, he talks about
I
how.
don't want to go too much into
Oh,
the
okay.
14th
All
Amendment.
right.
Just hold that for
Okay.
a second. Robbie,
Okay.
anything else you want to say? Because I'm going to go to the Negro.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no. The only thing, the other end I was going to say on that, but that's a good point though. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about what Trump did with on Martin Luther King Day, and then I do see that
Mm-hmm.
that the SCOTUS is about to address the birthright citizenship. But yeah, that is
Mm-hmm.
a big uh, bump in the road. But I don't really trust John Roberts on it either. But
I don't trust nobody.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it sucks. But lastly, yeah, I used to work in the entertainment industry. I used to bump elbows with a lot of those people, and yeah, they definitely CIA puppets, many of them, and they give them the agenda to push. And they never want to see us as a people succeed or come up or come together on pretty much anything. And that's why when they launched that, the gangster rap music and that took off, that was it. When Tribe Called Quest and KRS One and to
Yeah,
large
those
respects
groups.
Wu-Tang, when all that went away, man, we lost a lot of knowledge and through our music. So I'll end on there. Thank you guys.
Yeah, and look who
Appreciate
controls
it.
it, right? It's the same little hat group that controls the messaging. These people are just following orders, right? They're following wherever the money's going to go, and they're telling them what to do. And it's part of the neuro linguistic programming, which we can go into for a whole hour. But yeah, it's the people who are controlling it that are pushing that message and ideology that Deborah spoke to. Why it's destroying the youth.
Yeah.
I like to know what Snoop thinks. I would just like for him to tell me, like, dude, what you think about reparations? I would really like, because
I don't actually. I don't. I wish people stop asking. I think this should be a new rule. Stop asking celebrities about reparations,
okay,
like because they give the
I
most
agree. I
stupid
agree.
answers. Go ahead, the Negro. We got
Yeah,
about
I
three
wanted to talk
minutes.
about. Yeah, I'll be really brief. I wanted to talk about where the money can come from. There's a victimization fund that comes out of the federal government that we could tap into. Also, human trafficking funding as well. That is also federally funded that we can take as well, because Negro people were human trafficked through the transatlantic
Yep.
slave trade. So those are a couple of the ways where we can get the bag that's already money that's already allocated for those type of crimes. The other thing I wanted to touch upon is the 14th Amendment. In the guise of that, Trump mentioned in that interview that Negro or Black American people were harmed as a result of the abuse of the 14th Amendment, which I see is another reparation case within
He
another
did.
reparation situation. And that was something that he specifically said, and the
Mhm.
reasons why we should be harping on that as a community, saying, handcuff his behind to the briefcase in the reparations case in the 14th Amendment and just pull them apart. That would be kind of my perspective when it comes to Trump, because
That's
he
what I think
meant.
too.
So I'll
Well,
digress there.
Dana, if you remember, Judge weighed in on this a couple of weeks back, because I asked specifically how we could get around the birthright citizenship and how we can eliminate it. And he said it's going to be difficult because of the phrase of the subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which simply means in the country. And I remember him talking about it has to be done through legislation through a constitutional amendment and be ratified by 2/3 of the Senate, which is going to be difficult. So I hope we
But when
get
you say
there.
in the country, he means in the United States, right?
Correct.
So then for the 14th Amendment probably only applied to the people who were descendants that came,
Well, no,
I but
we were talking about how we stop these anchor babies, right? Because women, you have this birth tourism where these women will come from other countries just to have the baby, like literally run across the border, have the baby here, and now they get to stay and suck off all the benefits
true.
from everybody here, right? And how do we get rid of that? Because that's not what the 14th Amendment was intended to do. It wasn't intended to be exploited by these people coming in from other countries. And
But
he said it
Well,
was.
if we can prove that it's a violation, that what they're doing is a violation, and that's I don't go to law school, but I was in engineering. You have to use the lawyers, and you got to choose the
mhm.
best ones, and you get like a group of them, and they all put their heads together, and then they come up and they write a damn good ass brief, that really explains it. But to me, it sounds like if they weren't from that 1870 cut off lineage as American descendants of the Civil War, um it they're
Okay,
violating
how do
that
we get on
law.
this 14th Amendment conversation? I mean,
Oh,
it's a good
sorry.
conversation to have.
Well, it's
It's
because
From
of the reparations
Yeah,
reparations.
I
what
Yep.
discussion.
right.
Trump said. I
Because
think Trump gave us the
people, there's some people that would rather because there was the battle with the names, Dana, where
Yeah.
some people want to be Negro, Black American, freedman, etc. There's some people that say, well, why don't you just say the 14th Amendment status, and we know who we're talking to and the people that deserves it.
Oh, okay.
That
I
and
that that neutralized that whole argument a little bit, and that's the reason why some of the people are looking like myself. I'm looking into that
right.
because I think that is something that's kind of fair
I've heard
from
some
that
brothers though.
perspective.
I've heard some brothers on like Tariq and what the TBA whatever. They said that Trump gave us an alley oop, and I love that because he did. But we
Mm.
and there's a lot of brothers out there that have had to work their cases pro se. So a lot of them might know the law better than a lot of these
So
lawyers
how about all
because
right? So what about
yeah,
how about we do this? Because we're already
yeah,
over 45 minutes. So
okay,
I think that's a good outline for next week, the 14th Amendment. But I
hmm
didn't realize it. Like, yeah, that does make sense when you do talk about reparations. You have to talk about the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment conversation is going to come out of that. So definitely, I think next week Thursday we talk about 14th Amendment. And then we still got to have the discussion. So next week, Friday, we're going to talk about should drugs be legalized because we never had that discussion. And I like these
no,
45 minutes because it's going to help program people. Okay, it's 10. I started late today because I took a cooking class, but it's 10 p.m. Thursday, Friday. So I want to get people programmed. Okay, let me hop on at 10 because it's 45 minutes, so we just get straight to the point and in and out.
Are you cooking with Kaya?
No, I ain't doing none of that twerking stuff. I'm old school.
Dana, are you doing a show with Judge this Tuesday?
Yeah, because he was out of town this week, so he didn't have his space. So his space is on Tuesday, and then I started doing my thing Thursday, Friday. Shout out to Shut Up. I don't know if you having your project space on Saturdays, because honey, it be rocking on Saturdays. um,
what
but
is this? Okay, shut up.
yeah, and then too, real quick, should the Baton girl be charged? Everybody's saying she is, and I just saw your message, lovely. You put as soon as I saw her baby hairs, I knew she did it. That's funny.
And Dana, I read another report that said that she could have a possible skull fracture, which could be
Hmm
implicated in the charging
That's
decision.
serious.
Yeah, and see again, going back to the damn media, they like to throw the gasoline on the fire, honey, and I don't know. And then now they're probably gonna try and bring up that girl who hit her, bring up any incident she probably had in the past. And if she never had any incident with anybody throughout her school years, you know, I just don't think she should be charged. It's disciplinary, fine, but to be charged, that's too much.
But the coach, I want to talk to that coach, man. It's like, why would you let her? Because I'm thinking
Well,
about
the
how you
coach,
run now
no,
at
that
Pass the
girl, and the girl
Baton.
did say, because I said this in the beginning. She did
Mm-hmm.
say she spoke to the coach, and the coach said, I'm going to speak to the parents, her parents, the girl, and your parents. He was going to take care of all that. And she was like, that's when I thought that, okay, it's going to get taken care of or whatever. And they did nothing. So I hold the adults responsible here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like a transparency. But thank you, everybody. I got to catch my Formula One qualifications. And this starts at 1 a.m. our time, Eastern, because they're in Australia. Go Lewis Hamilton. And yeah, so listen, I appreciate
Oh, you doing big dog cooking over there?
what?
That Formula One. You mentioned the big dog. Michelin one or Formula One? You
No,
said.
Formula One is a sport. It's a race car
Yes, the
sport.
yeah, the
Race car
cars.
Oh, I
driving.
thought you
Yeah.
meant when you said cooking. Wait, Sister
Oh
Dana,
no,
when you
I went
said
to a
cooking,
cooking class
Michelin is
earlier.
the top notch chef stuff. I'm like, who you cooking for?
Oh no,
Like
no, no. I went to a
No, she
Gourmet
said
King or?
Formula One. I thought that
yeah.
was the sports cars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Dana,
sports
are they
car.
bringing that to New York too? I thought I saw something that's in one of the.
I heard that
Yeah.
they're gonna probably put New York on there, but I don't know. But
Well,
right.
they had a few years ago. They set it up in this area, created a street, and they did have a set over here. And I happened to get some tickets to go.
Oh yeah,
So yeah.
they did have a display. Also
Mm-hmm.
lovely. You know what I want to do? If not next week, after next, I want to invite Third Eye into the space to be a third co-host. I love her spaces, Third Eye. So yeah. But anyway, everybody have a
So I'm learning Twitter, Dana, and I'm going to because you have some sensitive
Maybe the
people.
Black Receipt could facilitate that because he's her co-host and he's in here now.
Oh, this stuff is
Oh, okay,
crazy.
cool. Yeah.
But I'll put her on too.
Okay. All right. Okay, I just followed him back. All right, so listen, everybody have a wonderful weekend, and
You
I'll see you
too.
guys back on X. Oh wait, let me he requested to come out real quick because I'll be back on X. But
I just brought him. I just brought him up. He
oh, you
should
did
be up in
okay.
a second. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next time you'll be back is Tuesday.
Tuesday is Judge's space, so that's his space. I just facilitated. Hi,
Oh,
to
okay.
Black.
What's going on, Dana? What's up, Peter? Lovely.
What's up, man?
You're
How y'all doing
Hi.
today?
Good. We're about to close out, but did you want to say
Chilling.
anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was kind of like how Lovely was thinking when I seen them baby hairs. Yeah, I knew it was either she was a Telda and that's why she did it, or yeah, she was just shysty like that. The baby hairs will tell you for sure, for sure. She right.
Wait. Why the baby hairs is an
I
implementation of crime
mean,
and
I'm
guilt?
just saying.
Cause look,
It could be a
it's just
Southern
some.
thing. They're in Virginia.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in Texas. Look, know what I'm saying? When you see a yellow girl
Them
with
baby
fake
hairs
baby
gave
hairs,
arrogant.
cause yeah, it's cool if they got real baby hairs, but when it's some fake ones and shit, you know they suspect. You gotta watch them. They gonna steal.
It's funny.
I don't know. I think she is. I think she is being picked on a little too hard, but it's beyond picked on. That girl got charged, but oh my god. All right. So
I wanna know why nobody feels sorry for the girl that really got hit though.
I mean, we
Because
Yeah,
did
people
feel
don't
sorry
that
anymore.
is
for her.
weird.
But Lovely, like if you were running, I mean, and that happened to you, I'm thinking about it now. What would you do? I mean, you couldn't really grab the
If I'm the
baton.
one that got hit,
Yeah, that would have been horrible
well,
because you could have
I'm gonna be honest. You
hmm
can't do nothing but just wait.
keep
You can't.
running. You're
Yeah,
supposed to
you
They
keep
gotta
would
keep
clip
running.
her
running.
ass.
Well,
Yeah.
They both falling.
If I fall out, I fall out. But I can't fight her. Like I would just have to do that shit later.
right,
Yep.
because she did
You got to
fall
keep
out.
running. You got to
Like
keep
I would
running.
catch
She
that bitch
just got
fall out.
cracked in the head. She's trying to hold her head. That must have
Well, that's
hurt.
Yeah,
what she
but
was.
look,
She
but
fell
look,
out. And
she
fell out.
stumbled to the left and fell in the off the track. So
She
she
could have had a
She
concussion easily.
did.
yeah.
She
Okay.
had a slight
Cuz I'm
concussion. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
EMS didn't come and pick her up and take her to
I
the
don't.
hospital immediately to
I
check.
don't
I
know.
mean, and make sure all of
I
that.
think
But
they
See,
to
do.
this is the reason why we need to take
But
our
no,
black
when you
children
have
out of
track
these
meets, they have
schools.
EMS already there
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. But anyway, everybody have a great weekend.
Good night,
Okay.
enjoy the
guys.
F1,
Have a
Dana.
great
Good
weekend,
night. Good night.
everybody.
And have
Yes.
fun.
See,
Okay.
Yeah, peace out, Dana. Dana, check your inbox. You can see what I was doing.
okay, cool.
Good
And I'll
night,
see you guys
everybody.
on X on Tuesday. Have a great
Okay.
one. Bye.
You
Good
too.
Peace.
night.
Good night. Dana with the data.
Dana with the data.